I'm going to hit you guys with a crazy idea. Hear me out on this. You are allowed to not like Forspoken. There's been discourse surrounding this game for the last several days at this point because we're getting a lot of like gameplay and stuff uploaded on social media, but it's kind of been there, at least from what I've seen, since the demo dropped in December. At least that's when I started seeing people talk negatively about this game. The hype's been there for a long time, right? Pretty much since the reveal of the game. And every trailer we got, it seemed like the hype was always there. But when people actually got their hands on the game, it was a little bit different. Now, for me personally, I was never like that captivated by Forspoken because I never really understood the hype. I don't know what it was about this game that was drawing people in. Nothing necessarily looked bad about it, but I wasn't ever looking at a trailer going, oh my god, I have to have this game day one. I need this. I need to play it. I don't know. I kind of like the concept of it, the sort of fish out of water, modern day character thrown into a fantasy world. I don't hate that concept. But again, nothing really drew me in for Forspoken. So before the last several days, we're getting like a lot of gameplay and stuff for the game and reviews of the game. I never really had a dog in the fight, so to speak, right? I wasn't there positively or negatively Forspoken. Wasn't praying for its downfall or praying for its success. I just don't really give a shit. Now that said, I am going to talk negatively about the game because it's kind of the point of this video. Like, you're allowed to dislike the game, and there are problems with it. It doesn't matter if you absolutely love the game. There's not this like mixed reception of the game out there for no reason. It's just not happening. It kind of reminds me a little bit, and it's not as bad as this, but it reminds me a bit of like Fallout 76. And again, Forspoken's not as bad as Fallout 76, at least Fallout 76 on launch. I don't know how the game is now. I'm not speaking negative about Fallout 76 these days. But when the game dropped, it was clearly fucking broken, and there was a shit ton of problems across the board. But you still had the detractors that were trying to say the game was flawless or great or perfect or whatever, right? It's like, no, dude. There's something wrong here. There's not this just like negative reception of like the dialogue's bad, the world's bad, gameplay, whatever, pacing, graphics, UI, like whatever, right? Like, there's something wrong somewhere when you have all these different negative points for Forspoken coming out from different sources, right? Not everybody's going to say that the graphics are bad, not everybody's going to say the gameplay is bad, but you're hearing that from different sources. But the fact that there's just this mixed reception, if the game was just fantastic or great, it'd be getting 8 to 10s across the board. It just simply is not. There's something wrong fucking somewhere. The thing is, when we're getting like clips and stuff on like Twitter and social media and shit, and people were voicing their opinions on this, people would come to the defense of the game. Despite not having played the game themselves, except for maybe the demo, they want people to wait or play the game or buy the game themselves before they form a negative opinion. But how can you also do the opposite of that? How are you forming a positive opinion on this game when you've yet to play it yourself either? It just doesn't make any sense. So they're just coming to the defense for no goddamn reason. And so it's crazy to me. Like, why can I not watch a trailer, watch some gameplay, watch a clip on social media, watch a clip on YouTube, and form an opinion on the game? Like, why am I not allowed to do that? This logic that you need to, like, buy the fucking game to form an opinion just doesn't make sense to me. Like, how often do you watch a trailer for a video game or a trailer for like a movie or TV show and you're like, that doesn't look good, I'm not gonna buy that, I'm not gonna give my money to that? Like, why is Forspoken supposed to be the exception to the rule for some reason? And the thing is, regardless of your opinion on Forspoken, there are factually problems with it. In terms of just like a technical aspect, you can watch Digital Foundry's like review or just breakdown of the game or whatever. Now, the video obviously has positive and negatives about it. It's not just a video of them dunking on Forspoken. But the game was also on the Luminous engine, right? Which was what Final Fantasy 15 was on. And he used a lot of comparisons to Final Fantasy 15. And in a lot of aspects, Final Fantasy 15 looks better. This game that is how old at this point? Last gen only, right? Like, it came out on Xbox One and PS4, and this is a PS5 only game. And has like worse shadowing than Final Fantasy 15. It's just ridiculous. Like, the lighting's bad in most cases, the ambient occlusion, and if you were to put the game in like quality mode, you can get as low as like 20 frames per second in certain locations, and it's like, what's happening? This game's supposed to be like capped at 30 minimum, and we're still getting like frame dips and shit. And there's actually pop-in issues. I've seen that with like Luke Stevens' review of the game. Speaking of which, I did watch Luke Stevens' review earlier before making this video because I did want to see like another opinion on the game. He's like a reviewer that I really like. And he plays like the first, 30 or 40 minutes of the game and then skips forward several hours to a different point of the game and gives his like later opinion. And I can tell you that the dialogue in the game is definitely strange. Maybe strange to bad, because the clips that you see on like Twitter and stuff that were going viral were when like Frey's already in like Athea or whatever, like in the magical world with Cuff as her companion. But the beginning segments of the game, the first 20, 30 minutes, whatever it is, you're in like just the regular world, and just the dialogue is still strange. The opening when you're in the courtroom, the alleyway segment, her just talking in general, like the script for Frey is just, it's just bad.
Did I just do that?
Well, definitely with my assistance.
I did not just do that.
We did.
I just moved shit with my mind.
Perhaps our connection has somehow awoken some abilities.
I just moved shit with my mind.
I just keep hearing I.
I just moved shit with my freaking mind! Yeah, okay, that is something I do now. I do magic, talk to sentient cuffs, kill jacked up beasts. You know what? I'll probably fly next.
Now you're just being ridiculous.
Oh, that's too far. Good to know there's a line.
If you could just master these new abilities, with my help, of course.
Did you not just see me take out that gnarly beast? Oh, bring it, you mangled monsters.
Now, obviously, the dialogue for most people is going to be subjective because there are people out there that enjoy, they think it's funny, they think it's realistic that a character would talk like that when they get flung into a magical world. And I don't necessarily disagree with that. I don't think that the dialogue's 100% bad, but the shit that I've seen was pretty cringeworthy. But there's also problems if you go back to, like, that clip that I showed, that, like, just, like, facial animations are weird, like, lip syncing's weird, her mouth looks weird, you can see too much of her goddamn teeth. And also in a lot of cutscenes, they do this weird thing. You can see it from, like, the very beginning of the game, where, like, they'll be talking, right? And then it'll fade to black, like it's going to go to a different scene, and then you're still in the exact same fucking scene. And it doesn't make any sense. A weird design choice. There's also, it does like the fade to black to go into cutscenes, which is like an old thing in gaming, because like we've kind of moved past that since at least like Red Dead Redemption 2, or even like FF7 Remake does this, where you'll be like traversing the world and you'll come upon like a story segment or whatever, and it'll seamlessly transition into a cutscene where it doesn't feel like it's trying to load anything, right? It just does it right away. Like it's flawless. And for some reason, Forspoken being next-gen exclusive, PS5 only, it's still got to fade to black to go into a cutscene. It's just a little weird, man. Look, the point of this video is to point out that there are objectively bad things with this game, objective flaws, because people are trying to, with the way that they're defending the game, you think is a fucking perfect, it's a masterpiece, 10 out of 10, best game that's ever going to come out, with how much people want to go to bat for Forspoken. And it's just wrong. You're also allowed to like the game. I'm not trying to make this video to tell people to not buy the game or to hate the game. You're allowed to like it too. You can like it for whatever reason, but people are also allowed to dislike the game, even if it's just a fucking clip they've seen on Twitter. Even if I only want to dislike the game because of the damn dialogue, I'm allowed to do that. You know why? Because who the fuck are you to tell me otherwise? Like, it's weird. I don't know if this is like a generational thing. Maybe I'm just some old man bitching on YouTube. But like, why are we not allowed to not like things? Like, why can't I look at some gameplay or a clip of some dialogue and be like, that looks like fucking trash, dude? And the thing is, I've also seen people that were really hyping Forspoken up backtrack. They were talking about how good they think it's going to be, how fun the demo was, whatever the case. And then now that they've actually played the game, they're agreeing with the reviews that are out there, right? So it's like, it's clear that there's something wrong here. Even if you think it's a fantastic game, that is perfectly fine. But there is something wrong somewhere with Forspoken. That's gonna be more or less the video, my dudes. It's kind of a discussion, a little bit of a ranty sort of video, I guess, because it's like people were bashing the game over the last few days, and people were just going so hard to defend it without themselves yet having played the game, which is just a kind of a weird scenario. And I'm not even saying that overall Forspoken's a bad game. Again, I would have to play the game entirely, or at least play the the story or whatever, to be able to tell you whether or not it's an overall bad game. But the stuff that I have seen, it's just bad, dude. And it's a barren open world. I didn't even mention the open world. The open world's barren and empty. It's just, there's things to collect, I guess, sort of like the typical collectathon stuff for open worlds, but it's just a barren, empty world. Very not too indifferent from, like, I guess, a Final Fantasy 15, which was made on the same engine. So Square Enix, open world games, 0 out of 2. But of course, those are just kind of my thoughts, dude. I want to pass off to you guys. For one, do you have Forspoken, and what are your thoughts on it? How far into it are you? Are you just a couple hours? Have you beaten the game already? I know it's a pretty short campaign if you want it to be. What are your thoughts on Forspoken, either what you've seen or what you played? That's the video. Subscribe to our new social networks in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, _davidbusiness. That's it. Bye. And actually, I meant to put this early in the video, but here we are. Fuck it. When it comes to this game and review codes, like, Square Enix was, like, withholding them. Like, people weren't getting them as early as they should. In fact, some people weren't getting review codes until the day of release, and in fact, hours after release. And there's got to be a reason for that, because Square Enix is pretty good about review codes. In fact, I bitch quite often on this channel about people getting copies of games too early, in fact. Sometimes they get it a week, 2 weeks, sometimes a month early and shit. It's kind of crazy, right? But for whatever reason, and you could tinfoil hat this if you want to, try to defend it if you want to, with Forspoken, they were withholding review codes pretty heavily. So there's got to be a reason. They had to know that there were flaws with this game, because why else would they do that?
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Logain, or leave it like Cobain.